Yeah, what's up, everyone? This is Poppy Joe FS right here. Now, we'll be looking at pounds AUD and I'll be sharing my thought process of what I expect of the market for this particular pair, for this particular and for this week. Now, pounds AUD is a very volatile pair, which means it should be approached and only be traded by experts because the risk sometimes might just be surprised that your stop loss might just be as wide as 30, 40 pips, you understand? So, it should be approached with a lot of caution and definitely is a pair that you can make a lot of money from because it is very volatile. It can give quick pips and many reward. Now, looking at the current market situation on the weekly chart. Now, we have the weekly chart having this bullish impulsive move coming from a bearish trend. Now, we can see that the market is having the last candle that formed, which was last week's candle, was a very big impulsive candle, which is a big bullish candle. Now, what do we expect? We can expect the next candle that will form for this week to also as well be bullish. Yeah, so we can expect the next candle that will be forming for this week to be bullish as well. So, but how do we go about this and how do we check? Now, having this at the back of our mind that we can expect bullish candle to be formed on the weekly chart for this particular week. Now, we'll go to the lower time frame and see if our setups on the lower time frame will frame and give us this direction that we want for the week. So let's look at the daily time frame. Now, looking at the daily time frame and looking at the kind of price action that we have on the daily time frame, we could see clearly here that the market has shifted. Now, the market on the weekly time frame is bearish. Looking at the structure on the weekly time frame is bearish. Now, on the daily time frame here, what we have here is market shifting from a bearish trend now to a kind of bullish trend, which is a retracement for the direction on the weekly. Now, we could see here that the market has printed these two indecision candles, meaning we could expect the market to have a little retracement lower before continuing its bullish run to the supply zone that we have up here. So let's still check and print and check more and do more investigation about price and see what price is trying to do for us to be able to frame our setup and know exactly the next direction of the market. So still going further and investigating further, we will go on the 8 hours time frame, still looking at the kind of price action that we have here and looking at this particular being placing more preference on exactly what we have right inside this particular price action. We could see that the market is quite forming a kind of distribution and we need to be very careful because it could be market forming a distribution for it to go to this demand zone and then it could be the market having a distribution here to go to this demand zone before printing to the supply zone that we have here, or the market having a reaccumulation for it to continue its bullish move upward. So for that to confirm that, we need to go on a lower time frame to see the kind of to see vividly what's happening on the lower time frame. So let's go on the 1 hour time frame straight up. Now on the 1 hour time frame, now what I can have here is that I can see the market having market has taken liquidity at this point. You can see market took liquidity at this point. But if there's a very successful break, this is just make it fast. If there's a successful break of this particular point zone, then expect market to get to the demand zone. You understand? So if there's a successful break of this particular zone, then expect market to get to this demand zone for us to take a very good trade to up to our supply zone. But definitely, I won't be expecting much for of that to happen in the market for this week because I'm expecting bullish continuation in the market going on the weekly time frame. So I'm expecting bullish continuation, meaning I won't expect the market to come all the way down before now printing higher. Then probably that will be in another week before we can get that move to that supply zone. Then what are the things that we could probably see on the market on shorter time frame zone? Yeah, so let's frame a directional bias. Now looking at this now, framing a directional bias, looking at pounds AUD currently now. Pounds AUD is creating this higher highs, meaning if pounds AUD is about to take another retracement lower, meaning if the market should print this distribution and mark down this distribution and about to print a retracement lower, then we should be looking at the demand zones along the way to this higher time frame demand. So the market should react along this point and then give us a directional or a new impulse move to the upside to the supply zone that we have here. Remember that on the weekly time frame, we have a bearish direction and a bearish bias. And the weekly time frame, although we could see that the market has been impulsive from the weekly time frame, and we expect a bullish candle for this week also, at least to get to this supply zone. But we need to get bullish continuation signals from the market for us to confirm and frame our setup that the market will continue its bullish one. Although what I would expect in the market is the market should trade lower, which is on Monday, probably trade lower here, and until the market taking liquidity for the normal weekly range and the market cycle of the normal and ideal market cycle for the market to take liquidity of a previous day, probably Monday, take liquidity of Monday and then trade higher. That's what I could expect, and that's what I would actually be preferring to trade in the market for the week. So I'll be updating this particular analysis and I'll be sharing my thought process as the market develops, because right now the market is still yet to develop and we're still checking and we're still looking at the market to see how market develops and gives us what we want and what we want to trade for this week. So thank you. Keep following. Thank you.